And howdy folks, just a touch under the weather, but the coyotes out there don't care, so neither do I. So, extremely cold morning here the other morning, and I had nothing better to do with my time but try to sneak out and shoot one of these guys in my underoos, and it was cold. So, here I am getting set up for the shot on the concrete, and I'm just going to try to figure out where the wind is. I don't feel any, but that's just because the wind is getting blocked a little bit by the house. So I'm going to get this magazine loaded in the rifle, get a round chambered here in just a second, and let's see how I did. And that reaction had me confused, so I gathered myself up, walked back inside, trying to figure out what's going on, and then I decided I was going to go ahead and see what the video showed. So here's the last frame before the shot. Crosshairs look good, and you can see with just a touch of wind, it was going to blow me off about 2 inches at that distance. You can see there, it was a solid hit. And when I walked out, about 50 to 60 yards from where that carcass was that they were feeding on, there was my coyote. And you can tell by looking above him, he left a pretty good blood trail over there. That entrance hole was also fairly significant. I would venture to say that that angle I managed to do a pretty good amount of damage to the lungs and probably the liver. Here he is on the other side. I just happened to notice that I didn't have an exit wound on this guy. Oh well, time for contestant number 2. I happened to be a little bit more prepared this morning, but I was also kind of in a little bit of a hurry because I thought that I was going to miss her as she was going to walk back around the backside of this carcass. So I'm going to take a shot here as she's moving. And I don't think it could have gone much better than I'd hoped for. So let's take a look at that again here in slow motion. Goes in, thumps, perfect, and I went ahead and went and checked her out. She was actually kind of small, about 25 pounds or so. You'll see here in just a second where I stuck a tree stick into the entrance wound to kind of point out where it is. And I'm going to have to blur out the black and white, the exit, because it looks like the bullet came apart and actually exited in 2 separate areas, or it could have potentially been a piece of bone. I didn't spend enough time checking her out. For those of you who are wondering what I'm using, I still got my 6.5x47 and my FNSPR, and I'm still using these 130 grain ELD match, which coming out of the muzzle is about 2,705 feet per second, and you can see right there about what it does at 275 yards. On to some night hunting. I've got calves dropping right now, so I am out and after these coyotes with a vengeance. Now, I saw this guy leaking, and I thought for sure that he was going to fall immediately. And that just wasn't the case. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of times I was starting to wonder if I shouldn't be shooting at him some more. I was pretty sure of my hit. Finally he goes down. A little bit more relief for me. And you can see I pan over, there was a couple of the deer that he was pestering just a few moments prior. But as I got over there and took a look at him, he ended up being huge. He's actually probably the biggest coyote that I can remember killing. My rifle's 38 inches, and I know that he went well over 40 pounds. And I'm going to black and white this out too, because I could just about stick my hand in that entrance side wound. These 100 grain Nosler AccuBonds have just been fantastic in this 6.8 that I'm using at night, and I'm going to really miss them when I run out. But I've got one more coyote to use them on, and I've got to be quick on this one before she gets to my cows. So for those of you who are wondering what I was just doing, that first shot was simply to anchor her, because if she makes a right-hand turn, I have got my entire herd behind her, and there is no way that I can get a shot off. Sometimes you just kind of have to anchor them and then finish them off once they stop moving a little bit. And that's what this one was. This ended up being about a 30-pound female or so, but she won't be bothering anybody anymore, and that's just how I like them. For those wondering, if you forgot or just hadn't seen before, I'm using an Ambush Arms 6.8 SPC2. And that's it for my recent hunts. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you all have a wonderful day.